Hey everyone, welcome back to I Dream of Homestead. I'm Josephina, and today we're sitting outside so that I can give you guys a bit of a life update. I'm gonna start off by sharing with you guys the changes in the garden. So for starters, I cleared out the entire garden. I hit a point mentally where every time I walked outside and I saw things that were alive but not thriving and they were fruiting a little bit, every time I saw them, it just like really depressed me because I constantly felt like I was continuing to fail no matter what effort I put in to make them grow better. So I reached a point where I realized I just needed to rip everything out and start completely new, other than the flowers, and just give myself a clean slate so that every time I walked out, I wouldn't see the things that failed. Instead, I would see a new time to start over. I'll just show you guys where the garden's currently at, and then we'll sit down and I'll give you guys just some updates. So what brought me to where I currently am at, mentally and physically. And before I say anything else, because all of you guys are always so sweet and comment such nice things about my hair, I know somebody's gonna ask, well, what's happening to my hair? I had straightened it a few days ago and I just haven't touched it up since, and so it does this, and that's only because I ran out of product. I didn't permanently do anything to my hair. My natural curly hair will be back in the next video because I love my natural hair more than I love doing stuff like this to it. First bed I want to show you guys is right behind me. Oh, look at how exciting. My grass is long and it's gonna get cut in a few days. Just ignore that part. But all of this here is pink radish. And then right up here, you can see some little baby romaine heads. So there's 4 there. Look at how good they're doing, you guys. All of these are scarlet radish. I'm pretty soon gonna have to thin some of these out. I'll probably come out in the next few days and take care of that because I want them to grow to be a nice size, and if I keep them together like that, I'll just end up with like little tiny twin baby radishes that kind of like grew up smushed together. I don't want that. I want whole nice little bulbous radishes. And then here, I know it's so hard to see, but there's baby beets growing. You can see them all along. They've got like a red tint to them. And then I've got this bed here. Look at how exciting. All of this is arugula. And I had a mammoth sunflower planted there in the corner. All of those seeds dropped, so those are all volunteer sunflowers, and so is this. There's supposed to be a frost in like the next few weeks, so I don't know how well those are gonna do. I don't know if they're gonna be able to like grow much, but I'm gonna leave them there anyways. If I get something out of it, cool. If not, they were free. I didn't do any of the work for it, so it's okay. And then on this side of the bed, I know it doesn't look like much, it just looks like a bed with weeds, but there's kale babies sprouting all throughout here. I'm also gonna thin these out, but you can kind of see the little kale leaf coming out there. And eventually they're going to fill up the bed, and all that humongous space in between is gonna get covered. And then the bed right next to it has all of these romaine heads that are doing so good. And then on this opposite side, I know again that it's hard to see because everything is just seedlings. These are buttercrunch lettuce. So real quick about these romaine heads. These I did not start from seed like I did the other things. These I actually bought as plant starts. And the great thing about this is that I paid $6 for a set of 6 heads. And in between those, some of those actually had multiple heads in them. So whenever you're shopping for starts, just kind of like sift through the plants and see if there's double or even triple. Sometimes there's a whole lot more in there that you can separate and make separate plants from. So in total from the 6, I ended up with 11. So I have 11 romaine heads that I paid $6 for. And also these, I can just harvest the outer leaves whenever it's time to eat them, so I'm eating the outer leaves and not just chopping off the whole head. So these will be giving me hopefully a whole lot. We do love salads, like a lot, and so I look forward to everything that I can make with these. This next bed right here makes my heart sing. I'm calling it my volunteer bed because it's literally just all volunteer plants. I decided to completely leave every single thing that has grown here and not touch it, let it do its thing until frost kills everything, and just enjoy the beauty that it is. So I'm going to share it with you guys. Okay, so to start, I did plant that mullein. I planted that in the spring, but otherwise these cosmos came from one cosmo seed that I planted in this bed last year and has become this entire gorgeous bed full of cosmos. These are bright light cosmos that I got from Baker Creek. And then I had planted two ground cherry plants here last year on the complete opposite side of the bed, and they reseeded, and so there's 2 here as well as 1 right there and then a smaller one over here, so 4 total that ended up on this side of the bed. So again, frost is coming. I don't expect them to do too much, but I will keep them for as long as possible because I have had to do no work for those. And then look at this. This is beans. Rattlesnake pole beans that are growing. They're also growing right here from the ground, so they're literally just like coming on up. Food that I didn't have to work for, that I didn't have to stress for, that I didn't cry over because it failed. Like, thank you, God. This one I did do half of it, and these I also did from starts. They were much smaller than this about 2 weeks ago, and so these are broccoli, as you can see right there. Broccoli. And I learned last year for the first time something I did not know, and it might seem silly, but I genuinely didn't know that you could eat the leaves off of the broccoli. And so I tried some sauteed broccoli leaves. Changed my life. And then on this side I planted some cabbages, and I had attempted to grow more tomato plants using suckers and tomatillo, but a bunch of them ended up failing on me, and these 2 plus 1 other in a different bed survived. On the opposite side of the cabbage, I planted some rutabaga, and those have also come up. Oh, it's so exciting. They're also on this side, and you can't really see them from here, but there are a bunch of them that have sprouted. And then over in this bed, you can't really see, there's like little blops, but I planted 2 different kinds of cabbage on both sides of these beds. So that leaves me with 3 beds, 3.5 technically, because the carrot one over here that I haven't done, that still haven't been planted. The trellises, I plan on growing some peas. I'm probably going to do that tomorrow morning. I just haven't gotten to it. I've been doing everything in like sections, because when I try to do it all at once, then I end up setting myself up for failure because I didn't get it all done, and then my brain does this whole shutdown thing of, well, you didn't do it all, you only did a couple, so just forget about everything. It's ridiculous, I know, but depression is... This last bed though that I did plant something in is celery. I also got bees as starts. I'm hoping I gave them enough space. I hope. But yeah, those are doing really good over here as well. And now I'm gonna move over to the chicken area and show you guys what's going on over there, and then we'll just sit down for a few minutes and give you guys some of my updates on self. So I let all the chicks out of their cage for the first time today. I had them in the coop for almost 3 weeks, but in a separate cage. Today while I was doing some stuff, some of them escaped on me, and I decided, well, I'm just gonna give it a shot and see how they do. And there was 5 minutes of pecking from the older chickens, but after that they were over it. And so now my only issue is that they want to be free ranging because they can get through the holes here. They're still small enough that they can get through those holes. So I'm gonna have to figure out what to do next. Any suggestions that you guys have, please let me know. But let me show you guys. They're so cute. Since I'm hanging out here, I'm just watching over them and letting them do their thing. It's so sweet. Look at this. Hi, Tiki babes. These are the chicks that I got from McMurray Hatchery. Look at how beautiful they are. They are 7 weeks now. And they have been doing fantastic outside. Over here, hanging out in the corner, are the last of my original chickens that I got in April. 1 rooster and 3 hens. And then unfortunately, my friend had some issues at home, and I adopted out her last hen. So now I technically have 4 older hens. She's just younger than my April chickens are. This is her, the beauty, Wendy. We just had just a couple hours of the chickens pecking her like crazy when she first came, but I didn't have to separate her after that because they just immediately started getting along and everything was great, and she's been happy and doing really well with all of these. She's either hanging out with the chicks or hanging out with the black and white one here, Calliope. So it's really sweet having her. All right, so chicken coop update. This was their original cage. You can see all the chicken wire I did around it so they wouldn't escape out of there. They were originally in here, but now that's gone. So I made another feed bucket, excuse me, this one, because I recently went out of town to have a little vacation with my family. And so I needed something that was going to hold enough food for the next 4 days that I was going to be gone, and that worked so great. So that's the big feeder bucket. That's the water. They're both 5-gallon buckets, and then these I just took them out of the cage and set them down here for the chicks to finish off. And then the nesting boxes are here, and I know these especially are leaning. That's just because I messed up with one of the screws. Again, this is my first time doing all this kind of stuff, so I messed up with the screws, so I've got to take that down and redo it, and then just put some supports in there. And then here I put the roosting bars, which they are using. So this is just a really nice space for these chickens. They're doing so good. And as I'm recording and walking around, inspiration hits, and I just did something else to the coop. Since the chicks are too small to come up here to these roosting bars, I have this pallet on the side where I had removed the top bar, and I noticed just now a bunch of them were just kind of like roosting on one of these. So I stuck it in here and leaned it against the wall so that the little babies can roost on these and the adults roost up here. Is it gonna work? I don't know, but I'm gonna give it a try. I think that was good thinking on my part right there. Okay, all of you moms out there will understand this, but if I do not stop sneezing, I'm gonna pee myself. I forgot to take an allergy pill before I came outside, and it is ragweed season, so it is literally just everywhere around here. And so if I sound nasally or I get really sniffly, I apologize. I'm gonna try to edit out all of my sniffling. I just don't have any tissue out here with me, and the pollen from that ragweed is attacking my nostrils. That's okay. I'll take my pill when I get inside. So, the life update that I wanted to give you guys. I have been irregularly posting here and on Instagram. I just hit a point with my depression that it just got to be so overwhelming and I couldn't handle it anymore. That I was just kind of failing, not even failing, I just was lacking in every area of my life, from being a mom, being a wife, doing a YouTube thing, taking care of my house, being a friend, honestly, just being a person. I was a zombie version of myself. And so I hit such a low point with it. It's just been such a difficult year mentally, and then plus grieving the loss of people you love on top of it, just it's chaos. So I reached a point in therapy where my therapist said, I think it's time for some medication. And so that's what I did. I went to a psychiatrist and got prescribed some medication, which has been it has really been making such a difference. It's like a fog has been lifted out of my mind, and I can see things so much more clearly. That doesn't mean that the depression is just magically gone, or that I don't still have bad days. It just means that I can see a whole lot more clearly now. I love this so much, you guys. It makes me so happy. Okay, so I got prescribed the medication, but then the psychiatrist kind of brought something out to my attention. I ended up being diagnosed with sensory processing disorder, which made so much of my life make so much sense. Finding that out just means that I got switched to occupational therapy. So she is going to be helping me just manage those situations where I get overstimulated and guide me through what to do during those times and ways that I can avoid the overwhelm. So between the occupational therapy, the psychiatrist, my regular therapist, and then just trying to do as much of the work as I can to heal myself, I realized in the middle of all that I had turtled so hard that I pulled away from so many different things I loved. I went through some difficult situations over the past couple of years that pulled me away from the things that brought a lot of joy into my life. And one of those things was church. I really missed that, and I didn't realize how much I had so much hurt that I was choosing to step away instead of working to get to the root of what was causing that hurt to be so painful. And so I had this amazing experience at a women's conference called Chosen that happens here in South Carolina at Seacoast Church. It was just, I have gone several times, but this year I had an experience that I have never had before at any of the Chosens, or honestly ever in my life. And it just really brought a lot of light to the darkness that was in my mind and in my heart. I ended up rebonding with an old friend, and then bonding with a new friend that I am so appreciative for. And so that community is building back up in my life, and the importance of people in your life. Having a community of people for you is so vital, whether that community is 2 people, 10 people, 1 person. You really need to have people outside of family that are a support system for you. So then a few days later, I got together with those 2 friends and we just kind of talked and had a conversation about that experience that I had. And in talking with them, I brought up the fact that I have been in a place mentally where I am finally feeling that I'm starting to heal, but being in a place where I'm stuck. It's kind of like a fear of just like, I'm gonna do the things that I feel I should be doing in this healing process, and the fear that everything's gonna fail, or that I'm gonna mess up, or that I'm gonna trip up and go back into the depressive ways. That fear kept me from making a move, and so I just found myself most of the time looking through the windows at the garden and looking through the window at the chickens and doing the bare minimum for the chickens, just making sure they had food and water, and then every once in a while cleaning out bedding and stuff. But I wouldn't do more than that. I wouldn't come out and sit with them. I wouldn't spend any kind of time in the garden. I would go weeks at a time without setting foot in the garden because it depressed me so much. I was asking them for prayer and for advice on what to do with that feeling, and my friend said something to me that literally shook me. It tilted my world just enough to where I was forced to just take that first step and then just continue to take steps. And while my wheel isn't going as fast as I would like it to be going, maybe that's because it shouldn't be going that fast, I'm finally doing something every day. But before I go into that, let me tell you what she said to me. She told me something that she had heard recently, and my God, am I so glad she shared it with me. Physical obedience leads to spiritual release. And I know there's so many different ways that you can say that, but those specific words just really blew me away in that moment, because it's exactly what I needed to hear. And if I just physically obey the things that I feel God calling me to, I feel God calling me to this garden. I feel God calling me to raise these chickens and to lead my family into a life where we are as self-sustainable as we possibly can be, of growing our own food and raising our own meat, and just doing everything that we can with our own hands, by just doing the next thing that I feel like He's calling me to do, the next thing that will lead me into that. So if some days I just feel like I can't do anything but grab a chair and just sit down in the garden and stare at everything, or sit down here with the chickens and just stare at them and just be with them, then that's what I've got to do. Now I feel like I'm reconnecting with the garden again, and the soil is healed. It took 3 different loads of compost piled onto everything and all the good watering in the rain for that soil to finally be healed, because I see so much life coming from it that I am just so grateful. I feel so blessed. I am so appreciative to God for everything that has been coming since my healing has started. I healed mentally, I healed my heart, and so in return I got a healed garden. I did put in the work for that, but God answered those prayers, and my fall crops are doing so good so far. With my summer crops, the seedlings would come up and just die right away. It's like these seedlings are becoming plants at this point, and it's exciting. I just wanted to to give that reminder to anybody who needs it, or just to share that message with anybody else who might need it, that if you just take one step to do the one thing physically, even if you don't want to do it and your mind has so much chaos in it and it's so loud and then you just want to ball up and stay in your room, lay on your couch, lay in your bed, anything but do something, to just take one step to be physically obedient in the things that you feel called to do. Just take the one step. So yeah, a lot has gone on for me mentally and spiritually during this time where I have been silent on social media and YouTube, and I am so grateful for not beating myself up and for giving myself grace in allowing myself that space to heal and not feel like I was obligated to do something. So I am just really grateful for stepping into that obedience, one small thing at a time, even when I don't want to, because it has just brought me so much gratitude, very unexpected gratitude. It's just a gift given to me for taking a step that I didn't want to take. And that could look like just doing the dishes. I don't want to do the dishes, but I'm going to stand right here in front of the sink because I feel called to do my dishes and empty out this sink, and following God's lead on that for me to do the next thing. And you're not supposed to always be happy about doing what you got to do. Sometimes you're going to be scrubbing buckets and you're not going to be happy that you're scrubbing the buckets. Or you'll have a moment like I did where I literally was crying scrubbing chicken buckets, because at first I went to do it because I needed to and not because I wanted to, and I just felt like I needed to step into that obedience, and I grabbed the chicken buckets and instead found myself smiling, unintentionally smiling, because I had this unexpected gratitude hit me of, I get to wash chicken buckets, I get to have to scrub these things because I finally have my dream of having chickens. And I want these same things for you guys. I want the unexpected gratitude and the unexpected joy and all of the beautiful things that come with the really hard work of healing your mind and of healing yourself and taking that time to take care of yourself. Do those things and don't apologize for it. Don't apologize for taking breaks from certain things and certain people because you just need the time and the space to do things for your mind and your heart. Don't beat yourself up over it. Give yourself grace. And one day at a time, just a little bit at a time, you're gonna get there, and you're gonna be in a place where you have way more good days and way more good moments than you do the bad ones. I'll update you guys on what happened to the original chickens another time. I think this is it for this video. Thanks for hanging out with me in the garden and with the chickens and hearing my little update. I'm planning on doing things just a little bit differently on my channel. I kind of think I know what that looks like. I'm just not sure how to execute it, but I'm going to try anyway. So I hope that you will be seeing more of me more often. And I hope that all of you new subscribers, because holy crap, I'm at 4,000. Thank you guys. It's amazing that you guys are willing to stick around for this whole journey as I become a homesteader. And to show some support, if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below different things that you do in your healing, or different words of encouragement that maybe you could offer somebody else in this boat that you were once in. And if you haven't already, I hope that you're willing to hit that subscribe button and stick around with me on my journey to becoming a homesteader. I'll see you in the next one.